So it's been raining all day, every day, except for a very short period during the daytime over here for like a week. And as a result, there have been flash floods. But also, as a result, I have felt very tranquil, very calm, and in my element. And I attribute this to the type of weather which reminds me of a dream that I had when I was younger that long-term viewers on the channel might be aware of, where I wanted to move to Vietnam. I used to talk about that a lot in 2019, and one of my main reasons for wanting to move there was because it rains a lot in that country, especially during the so-called rainy season. And that was a big draw for me because I love the rain. Not only do I love the rain and getting wet, but I love the way that the cities and towns and rural landscapes look when it does rain. Something about it just feels so calming and beautiful for me, and I think it tends to make maybe some other people feel sad or depressed or something, but I see it and I feel the exact opposite. I feel exhilarated, exuberant, but also very calm, very, relaxed and appreciative of the fact that I am alive, appreciative of the fact that something like this can even occur in the first place. And, you know, there's a lot of talk of natural beauty, this concept of natural beauty. Typically, it's in reference to some of the great wonders of the world or particularly strange biomes like the Amazon and things like this. But I feel a extreme sense of natural beauty when I see even just changes in the weather, like the rain or the snow. And when those specific types of weather occur very consistently, I feel like I'm in my element. In much the same way that I feel like I'm in my element when I customize my room to be a very particular way, a way that represents my preferences and my interests and surrounds me with things that um, elicit a feeling of happiness from me. I feel the same way about the outside world. If I'm in a place that is tailored to my specific interests aesthetically, then I'm going to feel really good. I'm going to feel really in my element. And when it rains, it certainly contributes to that sense. And there's something about the consistency of it too that really gets me, in the right place. It's like it's hard to describe, but it sort of feels so familiar and all at the same time like you're watching the world change right before you. Like, let's say it's storming really hard and you walk outside and you see, you know, the caterpillar swimming on the leaf and it falls to the ground and tries to steadily make its way back up. You see everything about your environment changing as a result of the environment itself, right? Another component of it, which is that which comes down from the sky. And, these inhabitants of the world also can't live without the rain. It's a requirement for all of the things that we see and cherish. And there's something about that process that just really hits me in the feels in a way that I can't fully describe. Just the beauty of everything, the beauty of life, of the planet, of being alive. It's something so distinct that I have trouble really putting into words. It's something I feel when I go out and when I see these changes in the weather patterns, etc. But also when I see them very consistent. It's like it's yeah, I mean I struggle to put it into words really, this feeling. Whatever this feeling is, I love it. I love this feeling. And I don't know how to describe it. That's like what I'm struggling to do in an attempt to make this video. because it seems like I've gravitated towards places that rain a lot for my whole life. I grew up in a pretty rainy place, but I've tried to go to places that rain more simply because I wanted to be in it, you know? I wanted to be in that sort of environment. Um, but it's not something that I know why I like. It's just like the emotional draw is there. The drive to be in a place like that is there. And because I've been nocturnal for the past week, and also before, but particularly this week it was important. Um, I ended up getting to enjoy the rain a lot more because it was raining the heaviest at night. So I was able to hear the comforting sounds of the thunder and of the wind and the rain hitting my building, and just really take it in for hours and hours. And you see the sun come up, and it's like you look outside and water is everywhere. It's like you're not going to get out so easily that day. There's something nice about that too, right? It almost reminded me of the flash floods that we had, when I was a kid going to school. I remember one year it was so flooded that all the back roads that they would take to bring me to school were flooded, so I couldn't go to school. Um, and like I end up thinking of these very comforting memories. Um, and I mean I remember like one particular storm when I was pretty young, back when I was homeschooled, where like it was raining so hard that it literally felt like buckets of rain were coming down. Like you were soaked just from walking somewhere, and it was like pushing up against you. And hail was coming down too, so it was hitting the ground. And I remember I was just running around in this, like waving my arms around. I was so happy, and like how do I even describe this? It's like I have these like all these like bright, happy images in my head right now, but I don't know how to put them into words. Um, and that's like what I'm trying to figure out how to do. It like like I remember just running around in this, and I didn't even really have like proper rain clothes on. It's not like it was cold, so it wasn't a problem. And I come inside and my parents were just like, "Why didn't you have something on? like why weren't you wearing something in that weather?" I was like, "It didn't bother me." And they were like, "Oh, okay." Um and it I like to have a storm that hard. It was kind of like a special event too, like not something that you unlock in the world all that often. And so it was novel too. Like it was special on that level. It wasn't just special because it was a type of weather that I already really liked. It was like a particular type of it that only comes around every so often. And you look around you and you see these huge puddles, and the water has filled up, and you know in the little thing that filters the water off of the gutters. Oh yeah, that was the other thing, is you see the gutters just bursting water, so that there's like a filtration system. It takes the water from up on top of the house, and then it filters out of these metal things to go off into into the rocks. And it was literally so much rain that it was just very quickly like bursting out of this filtration system. um and that's wild. Like I remember it was raining so much that literally, like, instead of falling off into the pipe, it was flying off the side of the house, you know. Um, and that was a particularly big storm. Um, but it really sticks out in my mind just because I remember I was so happy that day, and I always went out. I always went out in the rain, And that was when I lived rural, before I lived really around other people. And nowadays, I don't know if I'd say I like it more. I'd say I like it the same amount, but I like it in like a different way too, because as an adult living in a somewhat populated place, you can go out and look around, and there aren't as many people out, and that ends up being calming as well. Back when I lived in a really rural spot, I found the rain calming. I loved it, but I didn't, you know, love it in the same way. It was like this amazing kind of nature experience, which I still appreciate. But now it's like I can get that, but then also I don't have to deal with people as much. The world is a lot quieter. People are a lot less around and nosy, etc. You can kind of just live in your own world. And that feeling of getting to live in your own world is a really precious thing. It's something that I want to talk about in more detail in another video, particularly, uh, different times during my life and during the life of the globe that I've experienced when, um, normally populated places seemed a lot more empty. Could be a reason why I like the snow a lot too, one of them. Um, I like the calming feeling of just getting to feel like you're the only person on Earth. It's a lot less overwhelming. But, it's strange. It's like even when I've been in the same type of weather, when there's been a lot of people around, I've still felt the same tranquility and serenity and calmness and appreciation and really just visceral sense of beauty. That the world around me is a beautiful place, and that's an idea and a feeling that I really subscribe to, and I hope that in the future, I can live in a place that has weather patterns that are even more like this. One can hope, one can dream, but as of now, I am enjoying what's going on around me.